Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Housing for Good. I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Chris.
All right, Chris, I found an article for us to talk about.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Awesome.
This is in Kansas City.
Oh.
And they are rethinking their homeless policy.
That's good.
Yeah, you would think.
I know they got a pretty bad problem over there, I think.
They do. They
Yeah,
do. So they are one of the largest cities with a problem that they're really not addressing, not the way it needs to be. And so they have just decided to put $1 million towards kickstarting a public-private strategy to better respond to the crisis that they're seeing. And so this report says that more than 2,000 people are homeless in Kansas City at any one time.
Wow.
And
that's
in the last
huge.
7 years, that population has risen 170%.
You know what's crazy is, people don't think about this, but in Kansas, our weather's crazy here.
It is.
So what does that look like in the winter? I wonder if those people leave Kansas City, or do they hide somewhere? Because, I mean, it gets very frigid here in the wintertime.
Yeah.
I mean, below zero.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't stay that way for long, but we definitely we're not Minneapolis or something.
Yeah.
But it's cold.
Yeah.
And
you can't sleep outside when it's freezing
No,
temperatures and you have no
no.
shelter. Now, they also say that among those 2,000 people, 95.7 are living outside without
Wow.
any kind of shelter. And so
That's
the other
awful.
thing they talk about is they have 214 providers and 333 programs serving the homeless population. And so the problem is the programs are not necessarily aimed at getting rid of homelessness. One of them might be to feed people.
Oh, okay.
One of them might be to house people. But they are not working together to figure out what does that look like. And only 63 of the 214 organizations that provide services are required to report their data. So the city doesn't even really have a good picture of what things look like. And, you know, for us, we are with the Balance of State Continuum of Care. And everybody that's in that COC has to use a database that will communicate with Kansas Homeless and KHRC to let them know, like, what are we using our money for and how's
Right.
everything working? And are we seeing the same people or are there new people? Like, what does the whole picture look like?
So their pit count probably is off.
They can't even know
Yeah.
that. They
And
can't even know that.
And pit count, by the way, is point in time, and we do that once a year,
Yeah.
which I've never understood why we do this in the wintertime when it's freezing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those people are hiding somewhere trying to stay
Yep.
warm. So let's do the pit count when everybody's somewhere
Yeah.
put away or whatever. So
Yeah.
so that's good that they're doing that, isn't it? But, you know, I agree, and I'm happy that they're thinking about this and coordinating it. But, you know, again, we're tossing money at something, $1 million, which
Yep.
may or may not be enough, instead of first coordinating with everybody, finding out where the resources are, and then moving forward. Because if there's that many people providing services, surely we can coordinate this in a way that'll help everybody and that we don't have to continue to throw money at things.
Well, and the duplication of services.
Yeah.
Which gets to be very expensive. The other part, though, that this article doesn't even address are those families and individuals that are doubled up. They don't even get counted
Right.
in the pit count because they are sheltered, even though their name isn't on that lease.
Right.
It's somebody else. And at any moment, they can be told, get out.
All of them can be told to get out
Yeah.
because you have people in your rental property that you're not supposed to have in your rental property. So
Yeah.
what does that look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a population that is growing as well. People cannot afford the rents that are charged. There's not enough housing to begin with. And so only the uber privileged can afford a place to live. And unfortunately, our families with kids, they're being priced out of stuff. So it just makes me sad.
There was one thing here that I read during in this article that you found, that they are going to provide immediate rent assistance to people at risk of homelessness. I think the best thing you can do is catch people before they fall in, instead of waiting.
Yeah.
You know, if you can catch them before they fall in instead of waiting till they're drowning, then you're going to have a better outcome. So I do like that. When I was reading through here, I was like, oh, I do like that. That at least they're that is money well spent.
Well, and it feels like maybe for the first time, there's somebody that's trying to put together a path forward to get everybody to work together on the problem. So, okay,
cool.
So what are we going to talk today about on our podcast?
Well, first thing I'm going to say is, so this is so funny. Last time we did a podcast, I sometimes my brain and my mouth don't match. Have you ever had that happen? My brain's moving so fast and my mouth can't catch up, and it's terrible. So I was telling everybody where to find our podcast on YouTube, and it was wrong.
Okay.
But it is YouTube, Housing for Good on YouTube. So if you Google that or put it wherever, you'll find us.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make that correction in case you're out there furiously trying to find Housing for Good. So, Joey, our producer, said, Chris, you screwed that up. Well, it's not the only thing I screwed up, and the last time I'm going to screw up, so it's just how it is, right?
Well, at least we are consistent.
We consistently screw it up. I was going to say something else that was totally inappropriate. But anyways, okay, so here we go. I want to talk about the role of childhood trauma in homelessness. So with the work we do and the people that we're around, that's the one thing that really has been pricking at me a little bit lately. So every month I think and ponder, which is what I do a lot. I don't know that I have a lot of time to be pondering, but it just happens.
Yeah.
I can't have any free time because then I'm pondering and it's bad. So anyways, but I'm noticing how childhood trauma, if it's not addressed appropriately, or if you don't have a good support system, it follows you forever.
Yeah.
And a lot of times middle-class people who have not experienced this homelessness have no understanding of why Betty over here, that's the name of my cat, by the way, but anyways, Betty can't get over herself and do what's necessary to live a good life.
Yeah.
You know, she gets a job, she quits the job, she moves, she does all these things. And so today I just wanted to talk a little bit about what that childhood trauma might look like and some of the consequences of what happens.
Well, and honestly, if you experienced trauma as a child, and I'll say this from my own experience. So I was physically abused at the age of 8. There is something in you that stops at that age. And it's not that you can't overcome it, but you're going to work your butt off. You're going to work your tail end off to overcome the issues that come from your development stopping at a certain point. I was just having a conversation with, I'm not going to say who it was, but it was an older person this week. And this person is experiencing so much anger in his 80s directed at his father from what he experienced as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
So it's like you never just forget it and walk away.
No.
It's going to stay there, and it's going to show up at sometimes the most inappropriate times. But the families we're working with, they haven't addressed it, and that's where we kind of step in and try to help start dealing with it.
I think 1 in 5 women, and I know it affects, I mean, I myself had this exact same situation as you did. The difference was you felt comfortable telling an adult, and I didn't tell anybody till I was 24 years old. And so I lived with that. And I think at the moment that it happened, I lost my childhood.
Yeah. You do.
I was this happy, carefree, I did well in school. I was athletic.
Yep.
And that person stole that.
Yeah.
And so I can't even, I'm emotional here. It's so emotional after so many years, but that person stole that from me. And my parents were awesome, but they were clueless as to what was happening to me. And I had to, when I was 15, I put a stop to it. Well, they moved us away before then. I put a stop to it, and I said to this person, if you ever come near me again, I will kill you.
Yeah.
And at that point, I took control of it.
Yeah.
I did not allow that person or anybody else, for that matter, to ever have control of me again. And so that's not a great thing to carry into adulthood.
Yeah.
When you refuse to be a victim with people who are trustworthy and people who are not trustworthy, because you can't tell the difference. I don't always know the difference between who I can trust and who I can't trust. I just put y'all in the same bucket.
Yeah.
And, I have this thing about hugging, so you can't hug me until I trust you,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a very, very common reaction is once you've been hurt that way, you are not going to open yourself up to have that happen again. And it just breaks my heart when you hear about kids that it did happen multiple times. But, okay, so childhood trauma can be abuse, whether that's physical, emotional, or sexual. Neglect or instability, frequent moves, foster care.
People don't realize that frequent moves can really hurt somebody because you don't develop those relationships. And you lose your ability, if something is happening to you, who do you trust? Because maybe you've moved away and now you have to start over.
Yeah.
People don't understand how serious that is.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other one would be exposure to violence or substance abuse. And so those are the kinds of trauma that we're talking about. And the impact on the development and the life outcomes, it can be mental health challenges.
Right.
You've already said it, difficulty forming healthy relationships. And then educational and employment barriers. So I've shared a little bit about my husband and how they moved every year of his growing up. And he would start school in one school district, in one school. And he will tell you there was one year that he enrolled in a school, it was grade school, never went there one day. The very next day or that night, they moved back home with Dad. And they were with Grandma. And so when you don't have an education where you develop those friendships, you have those teachers that you trust, you're always the new kid on the block, always. Like you said, it just makes it extremely hard to trust and to even know, who am I going to confide in this time?
Who do you? And the other thing that I think it affects is people who've experienced all of that tend to run.
Yes.
And so when things get hard, they run. And so those are the people then, maybe their parents had experienced something and now they're running from job to job to job. They're running from house to house to house because maybe that next place will be better.
Yeah.
Maybe this job will be better, people are better. But somebody told me a long time ago, if you move all the time, that you still take yourself with.
Yeah.
You take yourself with you. So if you can leave yourself behind and become a different person, then maybe that works, right? But if I have to take myself, who's created all this craziness in my mind,
yes,
then And so for me, I am terrified of moving. Because we moved a lot growing up, not as much as your husband, not even close to that much, but we moved a lot. And so after a while, I was like, why would I form relationships with somebody that I'm not going to see them in a couple of years?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point of this? So I didn't have a lot of friends. I had some friends, but I don't know. I was always the new person, and I was always like, well, I couldn't handle the popular kids because they always kind of make me nauseous or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd get all the kids that were kind of kicked out, and I'd say, okay, let's all hang out together because there's more of us than there is of them.
Yeah.
Which worked out really good sometimes, but I did not form good relationships, and now I've been in my house for a long time, but it terrifies me, the thought of losing my home or moving.
Yeah.
It's this crazy, weird, and I know that's because of that.
Yeah.
I know that my home is like one of the most important things in my life.
Okay. So what you did is what I tell people when we're counseling with them, when we're doing case management, we're meeting with them, And I tell them, if you are feeling uncomfortable, because they say, well, this doesn't feel right. I think I need to go. Okay, wait a minute. What did you come from? If that felt normal to you, I want you to feel uncomfortable, because I don't want it to feel normal to you, because normal to you was not normal.
Yes.
And so I don't want you to run. I want you to think about this like you are now a tree. And we're going to put down some roots. And we're going to develop some healthy relationships. And you're going to be really careful doing that. But we're going to help guide you towards those places where you can have a relationship with people that aren't out to take advantage of you, that aren't out to take whatever you're willing to give, that are going to support you, going to pray for you. But we have to start having healthy relationships so you can figure out what that looks like.
So don't you think that because you went through your trauma, but you kind of stayed in the same spot with your mom most of that time, that was a support system in a way for you that really helped you, or not?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I had my mom was great. I had aunts and uncles. I had grandparents around me. So even though back when this happened to me and I was a kid, going to the counselor, oh, let's go get therapy, that wasn't really anything that anybody did. And so that was never offered to me. But I learned to trust my instincts. I learned to talk to the right people. And even though it impacted me, I've been able to move past it just like you have.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of hard work and a lot of just continuing to move forward and to realize you were a kid. You had no control over this.
It's that guilt that you feel, and you have nothing. I mean, it wasn't your fault. It's shame and guilt, and you carry that. I still carry that a little bit, but I've opened up. People know what had happened to me, but it's just like, it still gets me, And I will say that therapy, if you're experiencing this, please go see somebody. My parents actually, I think they recognized something was going on, but they couldn't figure it out, and they sent me to therapy. And I remember, it's not funny, but it kind of is. She'd say, what's wrong with you? And of course, I'm not going to tell her. I haven't told anybody. It's this big old secret. She's like, okay, lay on the couch, squeeze your arm and relax your arm. And then I was like, okay, this is helping. Right? It was the stupidest thing.
Yeah.
And I think she didn't know what to do back in the olden days.
Yeah.
She really couldn't figure out. All she had to do was get me to trust her.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe I would have opened up enough to tell her what was going on. And maybe, I was remembering as a kid, because it was a family situation, not my immediate family, but some other family members, that if I had said anything, I was afraid of the consequences within our family. Even as a child, I knew that I had to be quiet because I didn't want to blow up our whole family.
Yeah.
So I had to be quiet about it. So that was, but now I'm open,
Yeah.
That movement, that Me Too movement, that a lot of people, you can think whatever you want to about it. But I think that for me, it was a release that, yes, me too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't like I was trying to use it as some kind of a thing. I just felt like, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And people need to speak out about it, even if it happened 40 years ago or however long ago. I think if you can release it and tell somebody, a family member, go to a therapist, your pastor, whoever that person is, tell somebody.
Yeah.
Even as an adult.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about how the trauma links to homelessness.
Okay.
So how does it translate? How does it get from this happened to me as a kid and homelessness, which is what we deal with a lot?
I think that the way it translates is that you have a feeling of worthlessness, of shame, of all of those things. So if you don't feel like you deserve anything, you somehow, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that you deserve nothing. I think that's it. I think you go out there looking for love and you find it in the wrong places sometimes if you don't find true love. I think there's there's all this stuff. You may not have the education that you need because you move so much.
Yep.
And now you're trapped in a job if you decide to stay there. I mean, it's like 100 things. What else do you think we're missing?
Or you quit school because you change schools all the time. So you quit school. I think if it is trauma that happens within the family that you run away from, all of the family supports have just left.
Yeah.
Or you feel like they have. Maybe they really haven't. Maybe your grandparents would love to know where you are, but you had abuse going on in your household, and it's like, well, if I tell them, they won't believe me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the family and community supports can disappear.
Well, and then also if you end up in the foster care, if the abuse is really bad and you end up in foster care and you're 18 years old, they're like, see, you wouldn't want to be ya. And they kick you out of the house.
Yeah.
I think now they're trying really hard to try to fill that gap so somebody who turns 18 isn't just tossed out into the street.
Yeah.
But not every community has access to that funding, I don't think,
Yeah.
within that foster care system. Or if you're desperate and you end up out on the streets for whatever reason, you can get involved with drugs and alcohol, prostitution.
Yep.
All of that can be mixed with that. I think you see a lot of people out on the streets who have so much childhood trauma, they literally don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and like you said, those bad decisions, but we keep telling people over and over when we talk with them is, yeah, some people make bad decisions.
Yes.
But not everybody.
Right.
And quite honestly, I've never had a bad decision that kept me stuck. But we work with people who one bad decision or a couple of them spiral. And they made a bad decision, but they shouldn't have to be stuck there for the rest of their life. That's stupid.
No.
And we can fix it.
Yeah, we can really help. There's somebody that I know, a pretty close person that I know actually, and her mother decided one day, she was a drug user. Her mother decided, I don't want you and your brother anymore. I don't want you.
Yeah.
So she gave him up to foster care. She ended up getting adopted. Her brother did not, but the adoptive parents were abusive.
Oh, wow.
So here she is trying to figure this out as an adult, and she has no reference points, right? Your mother said, I don't want you anymore. She wasn't raised in a family that could give her any kind of support. And all she knew raising her own children was, I don't want to be like my mother.
Yeah.
So she was doing things, maybe giving her kids more than she should have and sacrificing herself. And, she can't necessarily hold a job because she's been jumping around a little bit, thinking there's something better out there. She did manage to graduate high school, but finally, I've been trying to work with her for quite a couple of years now. She's finally figuring out these are the things that I need to do to get where I need to be. But she had no reference points. Yeah. I mean, I had reference points growing up.
Yeah, me too.
I had relatives that were very successful. We knew what was going on. I had two good parents. They were good people. They weren't abusive. They were good people. I had just had this terrible thing happen to me, but, they were just naive, not realizing what was going on. So I was lucky as compared to some of these people.
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine. Can you imagine your mother and saying to you and your brother, I don't want you anymore. No. Come and get them. I'm done. No. I mean, they were little. They were little when I can't imagine that. You would feel like you were worthless. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
it shatters every perception you have of family and the safety net that family's supposed to create for you. And so talking about this trauma, this is the main reason that we built the emergency shelter cottages, Oak Harbor Cottages, was because you and I both believed that we have to stop the trauma that the kids are experiencing.
Right.
And believe you me, if it's homeless and mom and dad don't know where you're sleeping, you don't know if you're going to eat supper, and there's no school, so there's no lunch today.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things are traumatic for a child, and they put an imprint on them from the minute they start to happen. And so we knew we needed the emergency shelter cottages where a family could come with their kids, whether that's a husband and wife or a single parent, man or woman, I don't care. If you got kids, we need to help you. And get them housed and then spend 90 days figuring out why. Yeah. What has happened to you to cause the trauma of being homeless and having your kids in that.
And we can't fix you in 90 days. That's not our
No.
That's really not our plan. Our plan is to put something together to figure out what is going on, what steps need to happen for you to move forward,
Yep.
and what can we help you with, whether you need an attorney, maybe you don't have custody of your children, maybe you need to go to mental health, which I think every one of our clients, including ourselves, sometimes need to be in therapy
Yep.
to deal with all of this stuff, and making sure that they have access to the things that they need. And most importantly, we have to give them a place where they feel safe,
Yeah.
right? We want these kids to feel safe.
Yes.
Where they can breathe, like that, where they can breathe and feel safe. We provide food and whatever else they need to just chill out for a minute and relax. And then the real work begins, because you can't put somebody in housing and say, there you go, good luck. You have to figure out what's going on with that family so we can try to help them move forward.
Yeah. And I got a real shocker this last week or so.
You did?
Yes. We had a client that had no medical insurance. So a lot of times the families we work with will have like CanCare, state-provided insurance.
Mm-hmm.
This particular person had none. So I'm like, okay, well, let's get you in to see a doctor. So we went to an emergency walk-in clinic where they wouldn't even put him in a room to look at what's going on without $250 paid up front. And here's my naivety. My husband and I, Carrie worked at the same place for 37 and a half years. We have always had insurance. Before he started working there, we had insurance that we came into the marriage with because we were kids, really, when we got married, and we were on our parents' insurance. And so then we got married, we got our own policy, we had insurance. I didn't realize that $250 is not going towards what you need to have done. That's just to be able to sit in a chair and look at a doctor. And it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
How on earth is somebody who's homeless or somebody that's in poverty that has no insurance provided by their job, cannot afford or don't qualify for insurance on the marketplace, how are they ever supposed to be well if they're sick?
Right.
Get what they need. In this particular case, he really needed to see a dentist, but he was hurting so bad with infection that you had to start there.
Right.
And so then on top of that $250 to get him into the seat, now there's a $300 bill that's going to come because they did an x-ray or they gave him medicine and it's like, what? Wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unbelievable how healthcare has happened. And that was like one of your only options. It's not like you have any options. I mean, you could have taken him out of town, but again, vehicles and transportation and all that would have been 30 miles and there's not a bus that goes there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there wasn't a whole lot of other options, but that was really that. Healthcare is another whole we could have a whole podcast about what is going on with healthcare. But well, I will say that I believe that our cottages are working with our high percentage rate, wrapping these families with services, addressing that trauma, which is the number one thing that we have to do besides house them, is figure out what's going on. I mean, I've heard you say before, oh my goodness, that's a trigger for me. Yeah. You and I both, my trigger is if you try to make me feel like a victim, I will come for you.
Yeah.
And yours was, I can't remember what your trigger is, but you have your own triggers. And so you and I have triggers, but we've recognized them and try to control ourselves. Like I can clear a room without raising my voice. Yeah. I'm that scary.
Yeah.
And you're scarier than me, but
well, I'm always going to speak the truth to you.
Yes.
And sometimes that makes people cry.
Yes, you have.
And I'm sorry about that.
Yes.
But
you're funny.
It does nothing to sugarcoat what's happening. Let's just be honest about it.
Yeah.
And I always tell folks, when we're talking with you about helping you, there's nothing you can tell me that will make me say, nope, absolutely not. That is too much.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Just be honest with me. So we can address what's going on. Because if we don't address it, it's going to stay with you. And it's going to impact you. I'm only allowed, with our programs, the very longest we can help somebody is 2 years. Well, sometimes 2 years is just a good starting point.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that you are as stable as we can get you with all the necessary supports around you before we run out of time. So the 90 days gets it started. Then we help you find housing, get you housed, keep working with you. So
anyway, so that's kind of a background on trauma. I thought it was really important that people really understand when they look at, when they see homeless people in the streets or people that can't seem to figure it out.
yeah.
A lot of times it really did start with childhood trauma and things they have. But let's go to a positive. Let's talk about success stories. So for me, I was able to get myself out of my trauma because I put myself in therapy as an adult.
Yeah.
And worked through what was going on. Unfortunately, my first marriage didn't work out. As a very young, I was like you. I had a child very young. But I found an incredible guy. We've been married for 30 plus years and tried really hard together with our own. He had his stuff. I had my stuff. But together we figured it out. And we're strong as ever. And life is good for us. But I had to work past that to figure out what was going on so I could have a healthy, strong relationships and I could be successful, whatever that looks like for you. Success is different for everybody.
Yep.
And so I was able to do that, and you certainly have been able to do that as well.
Yeah, so Carrie and I mean, talk about two kiddos coming from trauma and broken homes. And we were married at 17 and 19, and immediately within just months, I had our first son. And we just celebrated 47 years of marriage.
Yay,
and
tell people how old
I
you are.
tell people, God let us grow up together.
Yeah.
And he helped us figure it out and work together to stay together. And I'll brag on my kids. I got 3 great kids, and they're successful, and they have great kids. And it just makes me feel really, really good that even though Carrie and I came to this marriage as broken people, like you said, sometimes it just goes back to my parents did this wrong. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Or my parents did this right. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And you figure that out together.
Yeah.
And so you can be successful. And I'll also say we have had people that have come to us with trauma that have been in our emergency shelter cottages that we got housed, and we worked with them as long as we could.
Yep.
And they're still housed. They are doing amazing. Their kids are thriving. Just a few weeks back, we talked with Sarah. She was on our podcast with the Mactown Gym.
Oh, yep.
And so we have watched this happen for a number of years now, and we know it can happen.
Yeah, and there's nothing more heartwarming, than watching, especially in your own family, like with me again. My kids are doing amazing as well. I have 2 grandkids. I wish I had more, but these kids won't move fast enough with that. But anyways, my grandson right now is going around to colleges, and he is hoping to be recruited as a thrower, so I'm really excited about him.
Yeah.
My granddaughter is doing amazing as well. And so even though maybe we brought trauma into our families, we learned to get over it, and then we hoped that we broke that trauma so that our kids could move forward and not carry it on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my kids have great jobs, they're educated, they're happy, which is the most important thing. Is stable and happy, right?
Yeah.
We want our kids to be stable and happy. So I think we're success stories really in a way that hopefully we can bring hope to other people who have experienced this or feeling some kind of way. It's possible to get out of it, but boy, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you and I both have made kind of our career to help people that kind of came through what we did to do better and to be stable and housed, and we want you moving forward. So this has been kind of a heavy topic.
It was heavy.
But
it was
I
good.
am really happy that we were able to sit down and do this. If you would be interested, or you know somebody that would be a great guest on our podcast, Housing for Good, drop us a line. Hey, maybe you have a question.
Yeah, ask us a question. Please ask us a question.
Yeah.
Any question. We would love a question.
Or maybe you have a simple comment.
Yeah.
We hope that our conversations each week bring you to think about what you see in your own community and ways that you can be involved. And so we would love for you to do that, all of that. Leave all that information for us at housingforgood@mcphersonhc.org. And thank you for listening.
And have a great day.